Hey, how you doing? So, I have been asked by the team that create these videos for me to explain what my daily routine is. Now, I guess that means kind of what you want to know when I get up and what's the first thing I do and all of that kind of stuff. But to be honest with you, and I will explain this, I don't think it's actually important for you to know, or anybody to know, except for my partner, what my daily routine is. And I'll explain that why. Everybody is absolutely different. So for me, I like to get up in the morning fairly early, between 5 and 6. I like to go to the gym, then I like to come back, smash out some emails, And that's what works best for me. However, if you prefer late nights, evenings, you may prefer to sleep in later and then get work done later in the day. There is literally no right and wrongs, and you have to figure it out as you go along. Part of the struggle that I found when I was becoming an entrepreneur was, did you see my notebook then? I'd gone from having a set routine, a 9 to 6:30 or 9 to 5 or whatever it was, getting up at 7, going to work at 8, being at work for 8:30, setting up my desk, working through, having a lunch break when somebody told me I can have a lunch break, and then going home and then having time to myself afterwards. And I actually found one of the hardest things was to break away from that mentality when I became a business owner. And I think it will be actually something that a lot of people do struggle with as well. So trying to fit my routine as to say what your routine to be, I don't think is correct. I think you will over time adapt to what works best for you. And I'll be honest, 2-3 years into being self-employed, it's still difficult sometimes to sit down and watch some afternoon TV or watch a documentary or just chill out on the sofa, listen to music without feeling guilty because I'm thinking, oh, I should be at work. But actually, it doesn't work like that when you are starting to work for yourself. What I thought I would tell you about then is some of the key things that I believe and I literally live my life by and make sure that I have either planned daily or weekly. Now I have written these down just so I don't forget them. That's hence why I'm holding the notepad. So the first thing I wanted to tell you is I always carry this around with me. Now this is my 2020 diary. It's personalised, it's got a little guitar on there with my initials. And it is, I won't show you, an A5 day by day diary. But these are all of my notes in there. So you can see that I literally love this book. Like it goes everywhere with me and I would not be without it. And I will tell you a couple of things that I put in here. Firstly, I would say notes. Any kind of notes from meetings, any people that I've met and an idea strikes me, I write it down in this book. A lot of what's written in here doesn't make sense because it's so personal to me, but I know that I can look at that mostly and remember what it means. A fantastic way of scheduling, say if you've got a meeting in later on, obviously like a diary is. I actually just used it mostly just for knowing what I've done on that day, what I need to do on other days, and making like little lists. So you will see in this diary that I will say something like, I don't know, pay contractors, put a post on Instagram, explore X, do this, and then there will be ticks next to it. I don't always get them done, that's a key thing, but I can take the ones that I haven't got done and I put them on the next page. And I keep putting them on pages further and further away until they get done, because in my mind, the more I see it, the more I know I'm putting it off, and then I think just get it done. Just get it done and out the way. And the satisfaction of getting it done is immense. Notes and lists. Now the other thing that I do in my diary is plan. I always have 3 or 4 things that are just kicking around in my brain that I want to try and put into fruition. That could be a new product, that could be a new social media platform or campaign or anything like that. And I use the diary to reminds me, but also just as a kind of board where I can just sound off ideas on it to myself, really. I know this sounds a bit strange, but if I say, for example, want to do a campaign on the microfiber cloth that I've got out, I will put there some of the ideas, like one of those cloud bubble things, lots of ideas. Then I'll kick it around. When I meet people, I say, hey, listen, I'm just trying to do this because it's in my diary, because I carry my diary. I can refer to it. I'm thinking of doing this. What do you think? Get their ideas. And over time, again, things get crossed off, things get added to, and then it really helps me develop an idea. There are different ways of doing that. You can, and I know of people that do voice notes, or even just quick videos straight out, and just be like blah, 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 and then come back to it later. But I find, because I do carry a diary all the time, it is just the most important thing for me, really. I do also segment out my time. So I will always make sure that I have time allocated, not necessarily specific lengths of time, but certainly actions to take for certain things. One of the things that I will always do is marketing. Every single day without fail, I will do some kind of marketing, whether that be reaching out to people, whether that be posting, whether that be doing demos on my stories, whether it be doing a kind of a video or anything. It could be anything, but I will definitely be doing something, because without marketing, a business will shrivel and die really quickly. So that's the diary system that I use. The other thing I always carry around with me is a laptop and a pen. Those three things, and a phone, obviously. Those three things, that's four things. Those four things, you can conquer the world, trust me. So on my list as well, visual reminders for things. Bills are probably the easiest one, or things that I don't really want to do. But if it's physical, I put them in places where it always reminds me. So I'll be walking around the apartment, I'll put it in the car, and it, like in the diary where I'm pushing jobs from one day to the other, it becomes something, it's just like, Chris, get that done. The other thing, my email inbox always has to be clear as much as I can get it the night before. So I don't care how many emails I've got, if it's 10 or if it's 100, I have to have either dealt with those emails myself, allocated to somebody else to deal with, or in very unique circumstances, they can be pushed to the next day. This really helps me declutter my mind before I go to sleep. So this will be 1 or 2 hours before I sleep. I'll try and get rid of all of the emails. Then I'll turn it all off. I know exactly that when I wake up, there'll be an empty or a very small inbox when I wake up, plus the new ones. I find that just works for me. That kind of system though, you may want to deal with later on in your journey, because obviously if you have a customer problem, let's say, and you read that late at night, that can cause you a little bit of aggro and can play with your mind. But as you go later on in your journey, and you will know exactly how to deal with those, it doesn't affect you. Once you've solved the problem once, it's easy, and if the same problem comes up again, you know how to deal with it, so it's not an issue. This is gonna sound strange, but I do not punish myself for spending time doing whatever I want to do. So whether that's the gym, whether that's a bit of painting, whether that's watching documentaries on Netflix, whether that's reading, whether that's walking, shopping, whatever it is, I do it. I like to do it because it clears out my mind of anything that is going on in that day, in that week, in that month. So what will happen generally is by 11, 12 o'clock, I will have finished everything that I set out to do the day before, and generally dealt with everything that I need to do today. I've done a little bit of planning or tweaked some of the ideas that I've been working on, and then I will move into what I call a kind of, this is going to sound strange, but like a clear mind zone. So I will go out and I will do a bit of shopping. I'll pick up something. I do a paint by numbers. I'll do a jigsaw. I know I'm old. But actually the process of doing all of these things is to clear my head, view other things completely out of the norm of what I normally do, and try and get influence from other things. That's really what I'm trying to do. So Some of my best ideas have struck me when I have not been expecting it at all, and I've been doing something completely different, unrelated to any of my other businesses. And I would highly suggest that you do try that. Just get out every single day. I know that you can after work do that, but as an entrepreneur you'll find that there isn't really an after work scenario. So I always just, as I say, make some time, get out there and just clear your mind. And then the last thing is I don't just walk around aimlessly. I always trying to do two things at once. So I either trying to take phone calls, make phone calls, listen to podcasts. If I'm just walking, if I'm showering, there's always something going on in the background that I can be absorbing, that I can be learning from. If I am just having a shower and there's no podcasts and there's I come out and I step out and I'm nice and clean and everything, I do find that slightly wasteful that I haven't tried to learn something while I'm doing that. That's just me. And even in the times when I'm walking around and doing the painting, I will always be having somebody talking in my ear, either a colleague, either someone I'm trying to work with, either a customer, or I listen to the podcast. I just find that trying to merge two things at once serves my time much better. When it comes to podcasts, I mean, I'll probably do a whole section on this kind of stuff. But when it comes to podcasts, I like to listen to them on 1.5 times speed, which is strange, I know, but I just find all the info goes in. Sometimes like 50% of it is just straight over my head or isn't important and I can phase it out. But then just sometimes, boom, you get an idea and everything, whatever you're doing, stops. And then you reach for the pen and the diary and then the note is made. So yeah, that is it. Let me just summarize that for you. Don't listen to my routine in terms of what I do segment by segment, because you have to figure out for yourself what works best. Have a kind of diary system which helps you note, which helps you plan, and which you can keep lists. Try and use visual representations of things that you need to get done. I mean, I use bills, as I said, but if it's something that you haven't got physically, then put something unusual there. So put a cushion from the lounge in the kitchen or something that will make you think, oh yeah, I need to do that every time. Try and go through all your emails before you go to sleep, so you know when you wake up you've dealt with all of yesterday's crap and you've only got today's potential to get ahead with. Enjoy some alone time, don't beat yourself up about it. It's important, it helps you clear your mind, and my best ideas certainly come to me when I'm doing it, and you may find that yours do too. And try and leverage your time, try and do 1 or 2 things at once. Listen to podcasts, watch a documentary, try and do 2 jobs to merge, so that you're not just wandering around or you're not just doing your weekly shopping, you're actually learning something as you go. Okay, so not my daily routine, but certainly some of my top tips to help you get the absolute best out of your day. Take care.